In this video, we're going to look at good and bad examples of a writer trying to use specific examples in a body paragraph in their essay. So the topic I have here is kind of a fun one. It's what is a weeaboo, right? It's a type of person in popular culture. So we have a good thesis statement here. So this is another good model for a good thesis statement for a definition essay. Weeaboos are extreme fans of Japanese culture, people who are obsessive about their Japanese interest, fascinated by Japanese animated shows, and socially inept when discussing topics other than Japanese culture. So it makes it clear that it's defining by saying weeaboos are, and then it gives very clear, parallel, and specific criteria. So we have these two body paragraphs, and I want you to pause the video, read them, and decide which you think is the better use of specific examples, and hence the better body paragraph. So pause the video, read that, and then I'll come back and give you my commentary. Okay, so the better one in terms of using specific examples and in almost every other area is A, right? A is the good one. B is not good. And let's first talk about what's wrong with B. So B has sort of a weak topic sentence. And then this part here is the examples. The last sentence just sort of repeats the topic sentence. These are classic examples of non-specific generic examples. There's no named people here. It's just someone who is a weeaboo would do this. So it's not a specific person, not a real thing that anybody has done, right? It's just they would or maybe would do this. Probably includes on their Facebook, things like this. You know, it's all sort of generic and speculative. This is no one real. So this is pretty terrible in terms of using specific examples. And people who write like this often say to me, I just don't know how I'm going to meet the word count in my essay. Well, when you're using generic examples, you don't have much to talk about because you're not giving any specific detail, and that's why you just have this short little paragraph. A is much better. First of all, it starts with a very good topic sentence. I'll put that in red. That makes it clear that they're laying out a criteria. One trait of weeaboos is this. And then it actually does a really nice job here, if you look at this part, of justifying it. A lot of people don't do that, or they don't do it enough or not well enough. And it really explains very well why this is a necessary criteria for defining weeaboo. And then we have two main examples. We've got Kanye West, right? So I'll put that maybe in blue. And we've got George Filthy Frank Miller here. So we're focusing here on the examples. And there are only two examples here, but it's better to have just a couple really good specific examples than a whole list of generic ones. This actually has more examples if you think about it, because it's got about watching anime, Facebook, t-shirts, friends, so it's got more, but they're all so generic. It's better just to have a couple. Now, I wouldn't have just one. One is not enough, right? Because it doesn't give you enough range of demonstration for the criteria. But two can work, and so let's look at why these are specific. Well, they're named people, Kanye West and George Filthy Frank Miller, right? And then we have a lot of specific detail that explains how Kanye West is an example of a weeaboo, right? So he watches anime. He includes scenes from it in his music videos. We get a specific song where he does that and a specific description of what that video looks like. Now that's a specific example. Here we have the other example, right? We hear about his YouTube channel, how many subscribers he has, the fact that he talks about his favorite animes, that he's self-aware about it, how he uses irony and humor, and then it gives a very specific example of one of his videos that does that, and some description about what he does in the video, and even a reference he makes to another specific example in the video. So this is much, much better in terms of giving a specific example, and that's the kind of thing you want to do in your essay, to come out with specific examples. And you can see someone who writes like this isn't having trouble meeting the word count because they have enough detail, because they're talking about something real and specific, not just generic and speculative. All right, so that should give you a good idea of how to come up with and use specific examples in your essay.